Sometimes, when I make a great effort, I can remember her scent, the sweetness of her breath. Serena. Serena? Why can't I see you more clearly? Why can't I even remember? This was taken on that crisp winter night at our mutual friend's hunting lodge. We came back indoors, laughing, giddy as teenagers. It was truly like an enchanted time, like we were in a magic circle where no sorrow or pain could touch us. My love, we don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so this one is quite important. The guy who snapped this, our host that night, used an actual film camera. It was a different world back then. My love. The furniture came with the cabin. Considering how off the beaten path this place is, that helped make up our mind. Sometimes she would brush her leg against mine under the table when we were eating. A curious, sensual thrill. The table is worn but sturdy, just like our relationship was. Or is. I just don't know anymore. Our dining table. Quite modest, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I could tell plenty of stories about this table. To be honest, I'm surprised it's still in one piece. The dining table was well worn even when we acquired the cabin. You could tell from its appearance that it had been the centerpiece of many happy occasions, and there were many more to come. Our dining table. Quite modest, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Serena enjoyed spice in our life. I preferred it more bland. We were so different on some points.
Would you pass me the pepper? You know, you should use it too. It's good for the pressure.
I can't help these random associations. It's always been that way. I look at a pepper shaker and think of a Beatles song. It's just a pepper shaker, really. We got this set from that clearance sale, however long ago that was, yet we never needed to refill it. I didn't notice this before. It reads, "Contents imported from Ceylon." How old is this stuff? It's just a pepper shaker.
You always put too much salt in, dear. Think about your pressure.
She always worried about my diet. I used to think she did it to annoy me, but now... Yep, guilty as charged. I love salt. It emphasizes the taste a lot, and those crispy snacks. It's not the healthier type, just regular table salt. I always planned to switch to mineral or sea salt, but then I always ended up buying the regular stuff. Doctors, they always overreact. I must be even more exhausted than I realize. Here I am staring at a salt shaker, my thoughts a million miles away. It's not the healthier type, just regular table salt. "Come, love, with peace in your heart," said Niamh of the ice-blue eyes. Blue eyes. It's based on an Irish folktale. Warrior poet O'Sheen goes to Tirnanog, a Celtic otherworld known as the Land of Youth and Promise. Niamh is of the Fey folk, the fair ones, fairies. Weird mix of doggerel and artistry. The elemental imagery is evocative, but the language and structure are a bit quaint. Still, some lines jump out at you. I've always been drawn to things that are kind of both good and bad at the same time. Maybe because that's so like life. My grandma introduced me to these old legends when I was just a kid, in between stories of what she could still remember of her childhood in the old country. Weird mix of doggerel and artistry. The elemental image. Something draws me to this trunk. Is it the memories locked within? Or something else? We use this trunk to store trinkets and papers, but I can't help thinking there's something of importance inside. It's too painful. I want to, but not yet. We found this trunk at a flea market. We used to love rummaging around those in our early years. Big enough for a... We hated guns, so we never had any, even out here. But this would have been a good place to keep one, since it can be locked. We found this trunk at a flea market. We used to love rummaging around them. Big enough for a lifetime of mementos. She made this with her own hands. She was really good.
Look what I made, hun, in case we ever need to sweep something under the carpet. See the pattern of yellow squares? It's from this rug I remembered from my nursery. I must have been like 3 or 4, but it always stuck with me.
And no trap door under there, just more creaky floor. I always resisted the temptation to sweep things under there when it was my turn to tidy up.
The rug's all crooked again. Can you help me straighten it out?
And no trap door under there, just more creaky floor. Our refuge from the world. A place of warmth and passion. Sometimes we joked we needed to be so far out in the woods because that's how our sex life was. Far out. The furniture came with the cabin, but the bedclothes we brought with us. A place like this needs some luxury, but without her... There are no monsters under the bed. I guess they're all in my head. I feel too restless to sleep right now. I don't sleep well without Serena next to me. Both a blessing and a curse, I suppose. There are no monsters under the bed. I guess they're all in my head. Quite a large armoire for our admittedly Spartan needs. She uses most of it. We all have our skeletons in the closet, but not Serena. She was perfect. I'm not sure why, but I don't feel like opening it. The sole thought of it drains what little energy I have left in me. Maybe later. There's nothing of interest inside the closet anyway. I'm a casual dresser. No need to change clothes right now. For some reason, light bulbs wouldn't last long in this lamp. I never looked into it. 2 days, 3 days tops, and bam, a brand new light bulb would burn out. Whenever her lamp didn't work, Serena would come by my side to read. A few moments later, she would lay her head down on my chest and fall asleep. The only reason this lampshade gathered less dust than the other one was that we had to keep putting new bulbs in this one. Because of a wiring problem or whatever, this one always starts smelling sharply of metal after being on for a while. Considering what a strong odor of metal this one gives off when in use, I guess we were lucky never to have an accident. She adored all things of nature. I remember her long walks out in the woods. Curiously, we never brought many plants inside the cabin. We were surrounded by so many outside, I guess we were saturated by them. At least I was. Maybe I should have let her bring some plants inside. She liked them a lot. A plant is a plant. Beautiful to some, boring to others. They say these things are alive. If they are, it must be a horrible existence, confined in their own silent, dark world. She is fairly religious. Not me. I'm the cold and cynical bastard. But I don't remember that ever being an issue between us. She always thought our relationship was a blessing. God, how I miss her. No longer the cynical asshole, I guess. Her faith came as a surprise to me. She was never prudish about sex, so I just didn't expect it. I guess people simply aren't that predictable. No, I don't want to read right now. Especially not a Bible. I have no need for the words in there. I don't feel like being admonished by a deity right now. We used to keep a pitcher of water and a glass on this nightstand, but they're not here now. There's a thick layer of dust and an almost invisible outline where we kept the water pitcher. It hasn't been long enough for so much dust to accumulate, has it? For some reason, I always slept on the side of the bed closer to the window. Never asked myself why. We weren't good at housekeeping, always focusing on other aspects of our life together. But the dust does stand out a lot more when Serena's suddenly not here. I'll dust it off some other time. She was special. Contradictory. She didn't mind these. Actually, I think she was into them too.
That looks interesting. We can always try it.
I read it for the articles, of course. Like that one by the guy. That one about the thing. I needed some incentive to go check the mailbox from time to time. It's some way through the woods. Something good left in this world. They still make covers like this. Erotic, not obscene. She's beautiful, but what's her obsession with dolphins? The clock is a trophy from our flea market adventures. Chalk this particular purchase up to "Every cabin needs one." The ticking begins to feel homey after a while. The first night was a nightmare, though. Time never mattered much to us while we were hiding from the rest of the world here, as long as we were together and happy. The clock has always been rather autonomous. No matter how many times we've wound it up, it keeps going out of sync. Actually, I think it might have gone out of sync again. No trusting this clock. I wonder what time it is. As if it mattered. The clock has always been rather autonomous. It's a beautiful day, though there's an unnatural calm surrounding the area. I've always loved the hazy afternoon shades of this place. It's deep into summer, so there's a few hours left until it gets dark. The sunlight is so bright here. In other circumstances, this would have been the perfect afternoon for us. There's a crack in this window from a tantrum she threw some time ago. It wasn't the only thing she threw. Not exactly perfect soundproofing. The sunlight can be confusing, oppressive, as if pregnant with some ill omen. Or is the stress finally catching up with me? The sunlight is so bright here. In other circumstances, this would have been the perfect afternoon for us. Hers. I used it too, when shaving. There's a strand of blonde hair in the comb. Yes, blonde hair like sun rays. I'm remembering. What's wrong with my memory? Did I have a stroke? She also had a brush, but I can't see it anywhere. Nor some of her other personal items. There's only an outhouse, and for some reason, whoever erected the rickety thing didn't think to include wall-to-wall mirrors, so this came in handy. Should I dust for fingerprints? I might if I were in a detective story. After all these years, it permanently smells of her and her perfume. The last thing I need now is to see myself in the mirror. I must look awful. Comme une évidence, Serena's favorite perfume. I've always told Serena that she doesn't need to wear perfume. Her presence is magical enough already. It smells so elegant. There's violet leaf and silk tree blossom, I think. This perfume is perfect for Serena. Why didn't I ever notice? We were happy for a long time, at least I think we were. But as time passed, we fought about every little thing, even this. I keep looking at her things, remembering all the good and bad. Depends on how you look at it. Either a wonderful sensory stimulant and aphrodisiac, or a subtle weapon in the mating rituals of Homo sapiens. These keys are for the cabin and the car. If the keys are here, does she have her spare? I should probably stay here in case she doesn't. Did she even have her own spare? We also have a key for the outhouse, but can't be bothered to keep it anywhere other than under that rock next to the thing. No one comes here anyway. We did have a night prowler once who left a mark inside the outhouse, but we rarely lock it anyway. They prevent my blood pressure from skyrocketing. Doctor's orders. And Serena's. I'm generally not fond of taking medication. I find it hard to believe ingesting a few chemicals will do me much good in the long run.
Don't forget your pill, hun. I know you'd rather not, but you know it's for the best.
Beta blockers. I have high blood pressure. I'm only supposed to take these before meals.
Dearest, how do I say any of this? I like your way with words, but if I don't write this, I don't know what I'll do. My life feels so unreal now, dreamlike, but wonderfully so. Let me try, even if clumsily. The hours I spent with you when we last met are precious to me. I was so lost such a short time ago. Everything seemed drained of color and feeling. I think we were meant to find each other, to bring meaning to our lives again, make sense of the confusion shrouding both of us. When we stepped into the crystal silence of the snowy woods, away from the chatter of the guests, all nature seemed expectant, as if holding its breath, witnessing a rare moment of something infinitely better than what life in the ordinary run of things has to offer. Do you remember how the light crust of the snow glittered in the reflected light of the country house? How the copse of trees in which we walked was haloed with a magical aura? I felt the chill of the night air, and you opened your coat and enfolded me in your arms, and we hugged tight, sharing the warmth, sharing the only thing any of us have to share on this earth when you think about it. And then you toppled us on the snow, you devil. We laughed and rolled around, my head already spinning from the wine and crisp, pure night air and the stillness all around. We lay back, and I gasped when I realized what I was seeing. The luminous starscape, like a vast velvet cloth sprinkled with powdered sugar, like it can only be seen in the countryside. I had tears in my eyes when I turned to you and we kissed, and it felt like the only moment in all of time, or outside time, and ours was the only spark that could ignite the universe. You gave me these moments. You complete me in ways I never knew to dream of. Let me be the one who makes sense of the confusion whenever you feel lost again. We can make our own world against the rest of the world if need be. Together we can silence all the demons, heal all the wounds. I love you.
It's been so long since I said her name out loud. I think that's the moment I fell in love with her. When she told me the soothing sound of her name. No, I don't want to leave right now. There's still something for me in here. I better stay in case Serena comes back. There's always a chance she might return. There's nothing for me out there. This window never got much attention. Then again, the view isn't nearly as spectacular. Priorities, right? I guess it's covered with grease and grime from cooking, mostly. There's probably nothing out there that I want to see, anyway. All the stuff I care about is inside. Well, except for Serena. I can make out nothing through this window. So many afternoons spent in this armchair.
Come sit with me. I want to talk. And cuddle.
What did we talk about? Damn this fallible memory of mine. The most comfortable spot in the cabin, well, along with the bed. I can imagine her cuddling up to me even now, putting her hand under my shirt. Of course, we made love here, too. There was no place in the cabin we didn't before things deteriorated. So much wisdom and happiness in this bookcase. My life would have been much poorer without all this. The smell of old books is intoxicating. What happens to wood pulp as it ages gives it that distinctive vanilla smell. I loved it when we took down one of my favorites and curled up on the bed to read together as the wind howled outside on cold winter nights. Most of the books are mine, but all of hers are still here too. A lot of rarities and special editions here. I didn't lend out my Necronomicon, did I? No, of course not. Most of the books are mine, but all of hers are still here too. We had such a wonderful time dining in this cabin. Serena loved to experiment with her cooking. Truth be told, not all the cooking she did was a resounding success. We agreed to never attempt doing ravioli again.
You silly dolt. Here, give me that. Don't be such a child.
I think it dates from the colonial era, probably brought over by the Pilgrims. It belongs in a museum. An archaeologist could excavate the layers of food forever welded onto this and learn about the days when other beings ruled the earth. I think it dates from the colonial era, probably brought over by the Pilgrims. It belongs in a museum. An archaeologist could excavate the layers of food forever welded onto this and learn about the days when other beings ruled the earth. We don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so this one is quite important.